In the last video, I talked about the importance of water as a solvent and how water was very important for life. Well, it turns out there are other properties of water that make it very special, that are important and also help to sustain life on Earth. So again, water is polar. That makes it a very good solvent. And because of this polar nature, in liquid water, hydrogen bonds are constantly forming and being broken all the time. Now, let's take the temperature in one direction. We're going to reduce the temperature all the way to 0 Celsius. At this point, hydrogen bonds become fixed and the water turns into solid form, becoming ice. So the water molecules form a crystal lattice. And it turns out that solid water, which is ice, is less dense than liquid water. And the reason for this is, again, because of these hydrogen bonds. It forms this sort of rigid lattice, and it just so happens to be in this situation, in this state, when it's ice, the water molecules are actually more spread out than they are in liquid water. And that's actually really important. Because of this, if you look at a lake or a pond in the winter, it starts to freeze and the ice forms at the top first. And then gradually, if the winter goes on for a very long time, the ice will get thicker and thicker, moving downwards. But this actually protects the fish and plants and things like that happen to be at the bottom of the pond or lake. So that's a very important property of water that's a little bit unusual. Most other liquids will actually become more dense as they solidify into ice. So what else is special about water? Well, because of the hydrogen bonding, if we go in the other direction and start to heat up, or say we have a beaker of water and we start to heat it up with a Bunsen burner, the liquid water can actually absorb a lot of heat before becoming water vapor. And the reason for this has to do with these hydrogen bonds. The water molecules tend to cling to each other. And because of that, it's a little bit hard to break these hydrogen bonds, and the water can take up a lot of energy before becoming water vapor. Essentially, the water vapor occurs because there will be certain individual molecules of water, H2O, that have so much kinetic energy that they end up flying out up and away from the rest of the water molecules. But again, water can absorb a lot of essentially heat from its surroundings before it becomes water vapor. And why is that important for humans? Well, it turns out that because we need to sweat to control our body temperature, when we sweat, we have water on the surface of our skin, and as those water vapor molecules leave, they take with them a lot of energy. And so that's a property of water that helps us to cool ourselves. It also means that we're able to absorb quite a bit of heat because we're mostly water, or 60% water by weight. So those are very important properties of water that help to make water very special in terms of supporting life.